In the meditation hall earlier today, somebody asked me a question. First, he quoted something I have often read up to you in the retreat programs. What he read up was, the human mind is a sophisticated creation that is programmed by divine consciousness to function within limited parameters. The mind does not have the capacity to know its own source. And then the question was, the man said, I have been to some Vedanta teachings where it is said that enlightenment is for the mind only. Enlightenment is really for the mind. How can both of these things be true? Are both of these things true? Well, yes, actually they are. You see, and also just remember with questions like this, that different traditions have their own terminology, okay? But what I understand by the first part of the question, that the human mind is a sophisticated creation, and the mind doesn't have the capacity to know its own source. What this means for me is the ordinary, everyday mind that we sometimes call the thinking mind and the working mind. It's the mind that likes to feel it's in control. And as many of you have heard me say, the mind, on your way to awakening, the mind can be in the way, or it can be the way. Mostly it is in the way, it gets in the way. The ordinary everyday thinking mind, analyzing, criticizing, judging, weighing this up against that, and thinking it knows, the mind with all its opinions, its ideas, and all the stuff it's gathered up through this incarnation and from others too. So the mind really feels it's very important. I think some of you may remember, I've said many times, that the guru I had many years ago, he used to say, enlightenment is an insult to the intellect. So the thinking, everyday mind, the intellectual mind, thinks it knows. And in this way, it is in the way. But then we have pathways where the mind, pathways to awakening, where the mind is used very consciously. For example, Jnana Yoga, where the mind is used and very finely tuned and used meditatively to reflect on the teachings and the scriptures. Here the mind can be the way. But when the mind is the way in this way, it is a very, very spacious mind. It's not this little mind that thinks it knows and wants to be right and has lots of opinions. It's a very, very spacious mind. And this mind is what some would call the higher mind. It's the mind we begin to touch, to tap into, as we expand our consciousness, as we go deeper into spaciousness, and the energy of this mind becomes finer and finer. I think in the Buddhist tradition, they also talk about the mind, this mind, and this is the great mind, or the mind with a capital M. It's not the ordinary everyday thinking mind. It is pure mind. So this when we start tapping into this aspect of the mind, we are also moving beyond the personality. And when we come into this expanded mind, any idea you have, any teaching you look at, it can be held in the spaciousness of this mind. And if you take a truth teaching into this aspect of the mind, then the truth of the teaching will really reveal itself to you. This is not the mind that spins its web of illusion. This is the mind that can take you, that links you to Source, right? This is the aspect of us that does know Source. And if we look at this teaching that this man said is the Vedanta way of expressing something about the mind, and enlightenment, that enlightenment is really for the mind, I could also say yes to that, right? Because enlightenment for the mind that we normally talk about, the ordinary mind, is totally identified with the illusory self, with everything that comes and goes. I am this, I am that. I'm fantastic, I'm terrible, I am Hindu, I am Christian, I support Liverpool Football Club or whatever. This is the mind that totally identifies with that which comes and goes and keeps us stuck in the illusion, thinking that this is who I am, that is who I am. This idea, this concept is the real truth. This is the mind that imprisons us. And in this way we could say enlightenment is for the mind. It shatters the illusion that this aspect of the mind holds on to and keeps us imprisoned in. So we could say both are correct. What people normally call mind can never know its real source. It keeps us stuck in the so-called personality, in the illusory self. But to move into the highest aspect of mind, higher mind, that aspect of the mind that will take you beyond what you would normally call mind and take you to the awakening. That enlightened state, that awakening, is for the mind. It's to shatter the illusion of the ordinary everyday mind so you can rest in the truth of who you really are. The Buddha said, if you meet the Buddha on the way, kill him. Many teachers and masters say the teachings can only take you so far. You can get stuck in the finest teaching if you cling to it with the lower mind and try to argue about it and discuss it and convince other people you're right. But trust me when I say that any real truth teaching that has really touched you in the right place, it will be there. It will guide you to that place beyond mind. A real truth teaching that you take in the right way, that will never let you down. That will be there for you and will be able to take you beyond the grasp of the mind. Okay?